Наш партнер, дружня і близька нам Грузія, іде разом з нами важкою дорогою реформ і модернізації. Разом з Грузією ми у східному партнерстві ставимо разом свої цілі і пріоритети. Тому я дуже дякую пану міністру Алексу Патріашвілі за згоду у Криниці, так раптово на вулиці, висловити бажання приїхати сюди на наш форум і запрошую до слова.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, Excellencies, Mr. Deputy Prime Minister, dear guests, dear friends, it's a great honor for me and pleasure to participate in this International Economic Forum and to be among friends, among the main political economic actors. And of course, this is a great pleasure to be in such a nice place as we are here at Truskavci and in the Lviv region, which is one of the most beautiful places, not only in the Europe, but I believe in the world. From the very beginning, I must say that to underline that Georgia and Ukraine represent the two European states with a similar past, not an easy one, and with similar hopes for future. It's worth to mention that our historical and cultural links stemmed centuries ago. Today we enjoy close political and economic relations, which are rapidly developing. But I would like to underline that we, the Georgians, will never forget the support of the Ukrainian people at the very important and difficult times of Georgia's statehood. And we will always be grateful and standing by to our Ukrainian brothers. Ladies and gentlemen, globalization of the world economy often goes through regional integration, which used to be started with broader and deeper economic relations. The European Union remains a classic model for successful regional integration, which positively influences the economic development of the member states as well as the neighboring countries. Nowadays, we're witnessing the dramatic changes occurring in our region, which gives start to the new developments closely connected with our gradual integration into European economic space. Georgia and Ukraine, together with other partner countries, are effectively participating in both bilateral and multilateral dimension of the cooperation in the framework of Eastern Partnership. We believe that the integration into the European Union will provide our countries with greater opportunities to build democratic institutions, ensure freedom and security, as well as develop market economy with great involvement into the globalized world. As you may all know, last October, Georgia passed a litmus test by holding successful parliamentary elections that marked the first peaceful transition of power in the recent history of the country. From the very first day, the new Georgian government made it clear that Georgia's foreign policy priorities, which means integration in European Union and NATO, and its Western path is irreversible. The country's European way of development is based on the choice of the Georgian people. According to the most recent polls conducted by the different international organizations, up to 78% of Georgians are willing to see Georgia in the European Union and in the North Atlantic Alliance. In less than 2 weeks, Georgia will undergo another important test on maturity of its democracy. The presidential elections. The government is committed to conduct the elections according to the highest democratic standards and ensure free, fair, and democratic elections. So far, we are receiving a very positive feedback from the international observers, noting that the pre-election environment is free and competitive. At present, the EU-Georgia relations are in the most intensive phase covering all aspects of cooperation. Georgia would like to be among the leaders of European integration, at the same time is highly interested in successful EU integrational processes of other Eastern Partnership countries. It should be mentioned that each partner state has a sovereign right to choose its foreign policy course, and we respect this right. But we do not accept the pressure coming from the outside on the decisions made by the sovereign states and the independent states. We are witnessing in nowadays the obvious pressure coming from Russia over the Eastern European partner countries by using various methods, and this is really alarming. In this light, we respect, we are grateful, and we expect that the European Union's support to these countries will be reflected in a timely completion of the procedures that will safeguard European aspirations of the committed partners. This primarily implies to immediate signing of the association agreement with the deep and comprehensive free trade area agreement with Ukraine, and initialing of the association agreement with the DCFTA with Moldova and Georgia. As Mr. Füle, the Euro Commissioner for the Eastern Partnership, has not once mentioned, the Vilnius Summit will be a game changer. It will become a game changer for Ukraine, for Georgia, and it will become for the whole region. And we will see that the Europe will start to become, with the shared values, with the shared basic principles, wider, freer, and of course more democratic. At the same time, we believe that it is really very important to ensure the adequate pace for the cooperation within the visa dialogue, with the aim to establish the visa-free regime with respective partner countries. I will just very briefly highlight and update you on the EU-Georgia developments. As I have already mentioned, we have concluded successfully the negotiations on association agreement with the DCFTA, and we are planning to initial this agreement, but more important is that we are hearing the very open, very direct messages from the European Union, and we are planning that the signing of the association agreement will happen before the current European Commission's term ends, and this is really very important, together with Moldova. At the same time, we're thinking the post-Vilnius Summit developments. We are already in the negotiations with the European Union on developing the association agenda in order to start implementation of the agreements and implementation of the regulations and entering of the certain provisions into force. Sectoral cooperation is really of the utmost importance, and we are already participating in such important sectors as the Deputy Prime Minister has very rightly mentioned. The transport cooperation, the energy cooperation is really vital for the developing our region and developing the cooperation in this part of the region, but also providing the energy security and the transport security, transport development for the wider European society. At the same time, we will only be able to achieve the objectives of the partnership if security is well ensured. The European Union and Eastern European partners share vital interests in building up a common space of stability and peace, as far as our security is interlinked. Touching the security issues, I'd like to underscore that Georgia is a part of the still vulnerable region, and these threats and challenges are similar for most of the partner countries. Conflicts in Eastern Partnership region cause serious danger to security and stability in Europe and hinder EU integration process. You all know 20% of my country's territories are occupied by the Russian Federation. To this end, Russia does not comply with the ceasefire agreement and its obligation under international law and principles. This situation creates fertile ground on the occupied territories of Abkhazia and Tskhinvali region, South Ossetia, Georgia, to brutal violation of human rights, illegal migration, money laundering, trafficking, smuggling, cybercrime, etc. Such circumstances severely affect not only Georgia, but also the European and Euro-Atlantic community. Based on this background, we should aim our policy at finding common approaches and coming to mutually beneficial solutions that will enable us to exploit huge economic potential of the region and jointly deal with the security and stability challenges. Georgia, on its part, remains committed to the peaceful resolution of the Russia-Georgian conflict, and is therefore constructively participating in the Geneva discussions, which remains the primary venue for discussing security and stability and humanitarian matters with the Russian Federation, and ensure the implementation of the 12 August ceasefire agreement. Despite of the ongoing occupation, Georgia initiated a dialogue with Russia in order to restore the humanitarian, cultural, and economic links between the two nations. You know that the Special Representative, Ambassador Zura Babashidze, was appointed to communicate with his counterpart, Deputy Minister Grigory Karasin. The establishment of the new mechanism has led to the decrease in hostile rhetoric and practical discussions on opening the Russian market for Georgian products. Pragmatic steps have already been taken in the direction of the positive development of relations, particularly in trade, economy, and culture. Georgian Parliament adopted a resolution on unilateral non-use of force obligation, abolished the visa regime for Russian citizens, consented to Russia's WTO accession, and refused to boycott the Sochi Olympics. Moreover, the Georgian side expressed readiness to cooperate with Russia on security-related issues concerning the Olympic Games. However, the recent developments undermine the positive efforts and goodwill demonstrated by Georgia, as Russia renewed process of installation of barbed wires along the Tskhinvali occupation line, in particular in the villages of Dvani and Disi, and shifted the occupation lines hundreds of meters deeper into the Georgian controlled areas. At this stage, it's important that the international society is unanimous to appeal Russia to stop provocations against Georgia. There were very important statements made by the EU High calling on Moscow to remove fences and obstacles and expressing deeply concern with the borderization activities along the administrative boundary lines with the Russian-occupied territories of Abkhazia and South Ossetia. We highly appreciate a strong support of our friends in Ukraine, as well as member states of the European Union and NATO, firmly pursuing the non-recognition policy and unwavering position on Georgia's territorial integrity. At this stage, it's important that the European Union plays a key role in promoting security and stability on the ground. Such a stance is vital for contributing to the deoccupation of my country. We believe that Georgia's advancement on its way to European and Euro-Atlantic integration through further economic modernization and democratic development will greatly contribute to the reunification of the country. To move from the political issues to the economic ones, I will just briefly tell you that recently Georgia has established Georgia's co-investment fund with an amount of $6 billion committed to this fund, which will be open for attracting the international foreign direct investments in the areas which are highly under the interest of the international investors, like the hydroenergy sector, tourism, agriculture, and there is a separate fund for the agricultural developments of the $1 billion. So the business community represented here is mostly welcome to invest, to participate in these endeavors and in these developments in Georgia. And finally, I do hope that this forum will be productive with regards to the discussions related to future prospects of globalization and integration and the place of regional countries in the process. I wish forum participants success and interesting debates. Thank you for your attention.